Hello, welcome to day one, video one. I'm so excited you're here. I don't know who you are yet, but I just had a little dance party with myself and just got myself so hyped up and excited. And I've been excited all week and emotional all week and just crying about everything because I just have the best feeling in my heart and my soul that this is going to help so many women. So I want to thank you, first of all, for being here, for trusting me, for trusting your intuition and your gut, for investing in yourself, because it is not easy. And I know that. So I hope that you get everything that you want and desire out of this course. And just know that I am here to support you the entire way. I have been where you are. I have been afraid. I have been just like defeated and down and hopeless, and it sucks. And I want to give you the cliff notes. I want to give you the abridged version of how to get out of it and how to truly up level and meet the most magnetic, bold, brave, empowered, free version of yourself fast as I did. So let's dive in. I will tell you a little bit more about me as we go through the course. I just wanted to give a little introduction. So, all right. Welcome to Reframe, Rebuild, Rise Up. That is the title that I chose for this course. It came to me probably in the shower, honestly. That's when most of my thoughts, downloads come through. But I just was sort of thinking about what is the broad process that I went through to get from where I was then to where I am now. And I believe it started with reframing my mindset around it, reframing my perspective on it, coming at it from a different angle when I had been coming at it from a very life is happening to me victimhood mentality. And I felt, and you know, reasonably so. Most of us have an unbelievable amount of trauma to work through in situations like divorce, separation, all of that. It's extremely traumatic. So giving myself grace with that, but I really needed to reframe that perspective in order to start rebuilding the parts of myself that I had lost, the parts of myself that felt broken, the parts of myself that felt watered down, and for me to finally rise up and meet the next version of myself that was supposed to take me through the next, 2/3 of my life. I don't know how old you are, what season of life you're in. It doesn't matter, but you have so much life ahead of you. You have so many more memories to make. And in order to make the most out of what is coming down the road, I personally believe that when we go through something traumatic, we shed layers and layers, and we have to become the next version of ourselves. We are meant to evolve. Humans are meant to evolve. It drives me crazy when people are like, oh, you've changed. When people tell people they've changed in a negative way. It's like, of course you have. We're supposed to. Humans are supposed to change. So that is why I titled it that. And all right, so who am I? I'm Daisy. I'm a mom, obviously. I have my sweet girl, Autumn, and then I have my stepson, who I consider my son at this point. I wasn't able to officially adopt him, but I have been his mom. He calls me mom. I've been his mom since he was 5. I consider him my child just as much as my daughter. So I'm a mom. I am a writer. I've been a writer my whole life. I used to sit in my closet as a little girl and write novels, thinking they would one day be bestsellers. I am a divorcee, obviously. This is one of the reasons that I created this course. I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a woman, I'm a soul and a human body. I have somewhat spiritual woo-woo beliefs, not super far, but I definitely believe that we are all souls before we are bodies. Before we get bodies, I believe that we come here to have a human experience. And I have known for a very long time that my purpose as this soul that has chosen to come to Earth and have this human experience is to help others in some way. I used to believe that there was like this really specific cookie cutter path that I was supposed to follow, like I was supposed to be a doctor, or I was supposed to be a lawyer, or I was supposed to be this or that. And I could never get clarity on it. I could never stick with anything for very long. And it just led to me feeling stuck and fraudulent and misaligned all the time. And I just was confused, confusion and disarray combined with a massive load of anxiety. That was my reality for years and years and years and years. I jumped around in careers and relationships and just in life in general. It all felt random, and then it didn't. I realized over time that my purpose was so much more about who I was being than what I was doing at any given time in my life. I realized that my human experience, the pain, the good, the bad, all of it was meant to be shared in order to help another soul, right? What I've realized recently is that my main passion is helping moms to navigate this crazy, chaotic, messy experience that is divorce and co-parenting and all that comes with it, including finding and awakening one's divine feminine power. I feel like that is something that I really kind of struggled with my whole life. But after going through this trauma, I came out of it with what I feel is just so much, maybe even just more of an understanding of the womb healing that I needed to do, the sister wounds that I needed to heal. And all of that was just so much more clear. So, and while co-parenting and divorce is a huge focus of this course, there are a lot of other elements too. So I ask you to keep an open mind. Take what resonates and leave the rest. I have taken courses before, I have invested in coaches before, and I always try to keep an open mind because I know that everyone has different beliefs, everyone has different ways of thinking, standards, ways they were raised, all of that. We are so different and we are supposed to be. But I know when I end up somewhere, when I invest in something, I am meant to learn something. So I just try to keep the most open mind. So I encourage you to do the same. So why did I do this? Turning my mess into a message. There are 12 universal laws of the universe. A lot of us think of law of attraction, and that is kind of the trendy buzzword law of the universe that everyone seems to know, but there's actually 12 of them. Law of relativity, law of cause and effect, law of polarity. So maybe you've experienced the law of polarity a lot in your life in certain seasons. I know I have. And that's really when you are in those times in your life when you are experiencing a lot of contrast, when you are getting really clear on what you don't want. So a lot of the time that can look like just, one thing after the other not working out for you. And you're like, oh, what is going on? Why am I experiencing this? It's because you're learning and you're getting extra crystal clear on what you don't want so that you know what you do want in the future. And I think when we go through a traumatic separation, divorce, stuff like that, a lot of us, we do go through a season of the law of polarity when it's showing up a lot. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the law of perpetual transmutation of energy. This is a law that states that light will always be stronger than dark. Good will always be more powerful than bad. Positive will forever overcome negative. Every single one of us, I believe, has the opportunity to turn our mess into our message. This is mine. So what I teach, I kind of went over this a little bit before. So the reframe aspect is reframing your beliefs and perspective on the situation, coming out of victimhood and mostly fear and into faith and trust and even excitement for what's to come. I know it probably feels way far-fetched to think that you could be excited about anything in your life right now if you're like really going through it. But I promise you that you can. And if you throw yourself into this course and really put your all into it, you can absolutely come out of it excited about what's to come in your life. So I want you to really hear that and soak it up. I'm also going to teach you tangible, peaceful co-parenting tips and tips on how to deal with a toxic or narcissistic ex, tips on how to handle high conflict co-parenting. So this is something that I've had to deal with myself a lot. So it's something that I want to bring awareness to and help other women with. The next part, rebuild. It's going to be about rebuilding your confidence and identity. Like I said before, I really, really lost parts of myself. I lost parts of myself even just when I became a mom, not when I became a wife, but when I became a mom. I forgot what lit me up. I forgot that I was allowed to have another purpose. I adore being a mom, and I've wanted to be a mom for as long as I can remember. But I forgot that I got to have other projects and passions too. I still got to be me. I wasn't just these wonderful children's moms. I'm still Daisy, and I still got to dream and have goals. And I forgot all of that. And I think it's extremely common that a lot of moms go through that. So I don't know if you relate to that. Maybe you do, but we're going to work on that. So rebuilding, who were you before you were a mom and went through this experience? What parts do you want to remember? What parts do you maybe want to not remember and shed? What parts do you want to replace with something else? And then finally, rise up. That's where it's at. That is where you find and tap into your divine feminine power. That is where all of the healing sort of adds up and comes together to create this new powerful you. That is where you get to step into this new version of you that is ready to design a life you love, that is maybe ready for your soulmate to walk through the door, that is ready to do things completely differently in your life. Maybe you're not super stoked about where your finances are right now. Maybe you're not super stoked about the friendships in your life, right? We think a lot about our relationships or our marriage, but do we examine our friendships enough? Especially as women, do we examine, are the women around us empowering us, or are they helping to dim our light? So my ultimate goal is to help you rise up to be the most confident, empowered, and free version of yourself. So here's the module breakdown. I'm not going to go through all of it right now because we're going to go through it one by one. I want you to take these one day at a time. So if you want to even take it 1 week at a time and make this into like a 9-week course, you're welcome to do that. I would prefer it if you didn't do more than 1 module a day, because once you start looking at the homework assignments, you'll see that there's some heavy stuff in it that deserves the respect of you giving it space and time to breathe through it, move it through your body, move that energy out. It deserves that space. So I just want you to get the absolute most out of this, if that makes sense. So module 1, we're going to go through that today. That's really just getting clear on your intention. Why are you here? What are you wanting to get out of this? What person do you want to be coming out of this? How do you want this to benefit and affect your life in the long run? Because so much of what we get out of a course or coaching or anything of the like is what we have declared we're getting out of it. So as you can see, just a little preview of what's to come. We're going to talk about gaslighting, other toxic cycles, toxic communication, how to sort of fend off the desire to fall into old patterns with that stuff, how to create new patterns. We're going to address mom guilt, the court process, sort of the more nitty-gritty tangible stuff. Obviously, I am not a lawyer. I cannot give any legal advice, nor do I want to, but I've been through it, so I can give my experience and some words of comfort. I can do what I can. Then we're going to go on to tackling fears. I know that for me, one of the reasons that I stayed for so long was out of fear. And there's a lot of valid fears. And there's a lot of irrational fears. There's a lot of rational, irrational, valid, not so valid, and we're going to work through those. So we're going to go on to self-care, how to really take care of yourself and hold space for yourself through this process. Dating again, going out, telling the kids when to introduce them to your significant other if you're ready for that. When should you be ready? All of that good stuff. Module 8 is going to be kind of the juicier one. We're going to talk about sex. We're going to talk about feminine power, finding your sexuality again, womb healing, finding your divine tribe of women, and healing those sister wounds that I was talking about. Really, really, really drawing in and calling in your girls. So module 9 is going to be sort of the cherry on top of like, okay, we've gotten through all of this, sort of harder, messier stuff. And now we are ready to look forward, look ahead. We've healed, we've processed, we've cried, we've screamed, we've meditated, we've EFT tapped, we've moved that energy through, we've journaled the crap out of it. Now we're ready to like start dreaming a little bit. Now we're ready to say, okay, what's next? If this really is happening for me, let's dig a little bit deeper there and see what's possible. Is anything really possible? Can we really, really do anything we want from here? No, Daisy, we can't. We've got this, we've got debt, we've got bills, we've got this crazy ex, we've got court, we've got this and that. There's no way I can design my own life. I'm a slave. Life is happening to me. I hear you, but it's not, and I'm going to show you why. All right, module 1. This is where we're going to start reframing your beliefs. So this is the first, you're going to have some homework assignments on this, and I want you to go through the intention setting ceremony first. Before you start your homework at all, you've got a homework assignment attached for each module. You'll find it in the email that I sent out, but I want you to beforehand really take some time to meditate. Maybe do a little bit of breath work. Really light a candle. If you're into sage your house, light some incense, get some vibes going. I got my crystal here. Get some crystals around you, whatever you're into, whatever makes you feel connected to what you believe in. And then I want you to really, really sit with yourself. Put your hand on your heart. Take some deep breaths. Ask yourself how this is happening for you instead of to you. Ask yourself why you're here. What made you click that button? What made you finally invest in yourself and say, yes, I'm ready. I'm ready to up level. I'm ready to process some tough stuff. I want to be free. And I know that it's not going to be the most fun in the moment, but it's going to be worth it. So why are you here? What do you want? And I don't want to hear what you want if you think other people would let you have it. What do you want? Ultimately, what do you want? I feel like the guy in that movie, The Notebook, he's like, what do you want? And they made it into a meme about like girls not knowing what to get for dinner. Anyway, that's what it reminded me of. But seriously, there's so many of us who are in such people-pleasing mode that we don't even know what we want. We have no idea. I had no idea what I wanted for so long. And anytime anyone would ask me that, I would say, I don't know. What do you want? I don't know. What do you want? Okay, that sounds good. I'll want that too. No more. And it's okay if you don't know yet, but you're going to get clear on it. And that's what the writing is for. So we're going through something hard. If you are going through a divorce, if you are going through a separation, you're going through something traumatic. But can you find the silver linings? Can you find the not so awful stuff about it? Because we're going to go through the really crappy stuff too. And we're going to give it the respect that it deserves. And we're going to process the crap out of it. But can you go into it just kind of giving yourself a little preview of the silver linings? What lessons are presenting themselves? What lessons that maybe have come up in the past are coming up again? What are you no longer willing to tolerate? What are you sick and tired of? I know that this can seem a little bit cliche, but for every big shift in my life, I had to get so sick and tired to the point that I was physically nauseous, thinking about continuing to live that way before I was able to make a change. I would stick my toe in the water, I would stick my toe out the door, I would test it. But until I was so sick and tired, I didn't make that change. And just to let you in on a little, personal detail in my life, I will share a lot of personal stuff throughout this course. I went back and forth a lot. I got divorced, I got separated, I went back a couple times, even after being completely divorced. And I kept thinking I could make it work. I could make it work for the kids. Maybe I could make it work for me. Maybe it would be easier. Maybe my life would be easier, right? It was not until I was driving somewhere, I don't remember, I was driving home from somewhere, and it was like all of the energy that I had stuck inside of me, the stagnant energy, just boiled up to the surface. And I just started screaming with my windows all the way up. I was like in the middle of nowhere somewhere. And I just was screaming, I don't love him. Are you happy? Are you happy? I said it. I don't love him. And as soon as I said those words, I knew there was no going back. Because I knew in my soul, in my heart, I have always wanted a passionate, positive, it's my soulmate relationship. And it was like the universe, my guides, my higher power was waiting for me to say it, and kept saying, I know you want to say it. I know you want to say it. I know you keep lying to yourself. I know you keep making these excuses. And then I said it. And I was so sick and tired of lying to myself. And as soon as I had that breakdown in my car and I yelled those words, it was game over. I was done. I was out. I could not lie to myself anymore. So we're going to figure that out for you. We're going to look at your part in this situation. We all have a part. Doesn't mean it's your fault, but we all have a part. And if we don't look at our part, it can make us sick. And that's why we're going to look at our part, so that we can forgive ourselves. Because even if it is like on the surface so clear, feels so clear that it's like all their fault, you have a part, and not acknowledging it is only hurting you. We're also going to talk about how your inner child's being affected, right? That little girl that wants to be heard, that wants to be validated, that wants to be seen, the little you. I just started like sort of connecting things to this recently. And I had a really intense moment with it where I, one night, just had a very, very emotional, I don't want to say outburst, that sounds dramatic, but a really emotional moment. And I started going through old photos of myself. And I don't look at old photos very often, like childhood photos. And I just decided to start looking through them. And they were photos of me around my daughter's age. And I just started looking at this little girl, and tears started like welling up in my eyes. And before I knew it, I was just saying, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And that was sort of the beginning of me starting to listen to her and validate her and realize, in those moments of pain and fear, what is she asking for? What did she not get that maybe I can give her now? So that's what we're going to do. So when it comes to reframing your beliefs, the first part is really just noticing and observing. So, like I said, the homework assignments are really going to help you with this, but even if you want to just take notes and sort of jot down, where have I been in victim mentality? And again, I want to reiterate that this is not to invalidate you or invalidate your trauma or invalidate your experience. This is not to take the blame off of the other party at all, okay? Most of us are victims of abuse, victims of trauma, survivors, right? That is the truth. But there is so much power in shifting that perspective. So just to go a little bit deeper, there is this myth, there is this lie that someone can take your power. Have you heard that before? Have you felt that before? Does that resonate with you? I thought that all the time. It was like, I thought that my power was like this ball that I had and someone could just grab it away from me anytime. And they did. All the time. I never had my ball. Someone else always had it. I didn't even know where they were half the time. It's like, I don't know who's got my power. It might be my husband. It might be my mom. It might be that person over there. It might be that kid from second grade that told me he was going to put me in a tree and traumatized me. Who knows? I don't know where my ball is. It's not true. You have to give your power away. It is the most fabricated, societally accepted lie that someone can take your power, and it causes so much suffering. So I want you to get that out of your head right now. No one can take it. No one can take it. It's yours. Most people, this is the next thing that I want to kind of touch on. Most people build their lives around relationships versus the opposite. Building your life around you, what you want, what you see for your life, your passions, your desires, not necessarily your career, because I believe your career should complement you. But a lot of us don't know how to fall in love with life first. A lot of us don't know how to fall in love with ourselves first. A lot of us don't know how to fall in love with sunsets and the ocean and the stars and music and our favorite shows. We know how to fall in love with another person, but most of us don't know how to fall in love with ourselves and our experience here, our experience on this planet that we came here to have. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to show you how to love yourself first. And as cheesy and as stereotypical as that sounds, I'm going to show you in a little bit different way that I think is really going to resonate. Making your relationship your main point of validation or focus is the worst idea ever. And here's why. Humans are the most ever-changing, evolving emotional creatures. Okay? So if you are relying on this other person who is constantly going through their own stuff, their own seasons, their own, I talked about it before, we're supposed to change, we're supposed to evolve. If we're relying on them to be our source of happiness, it's never going to be secure. It's going to be like this all the time, all day long, no consistency whatsoever. We're going to go through life craving consistency, constantly becoming more and more desperate for it, but still running into the wall over and over again because we're giving people our power and our happiness and our security. We're giving it to them. They're not taking it. They don't want it. We're just giving it to them over and over. It doesn't matter who it is, whether it's something we learned growing up, we give it to our parents, we give it to our friends in little ways, in little people-pleasing ways, in subtle ways. For me, this would show up as sitting on the couch waiting for my boyfriend to text me back for 6 hours when his phone is dead and he's camping 2 states away. And I am absolutely incapable of feeling anything other than utter anxiety, pain, suffering, absolute darkness. I mean, this was before my marriage, but I remember I would just spend so many minutes and hours of my life waiting for this guy to text me back. And he was extremely inconsistent. He was always, rock climbing in another state or doing something with the guys. And I spent so much of my time and my energy waiting for him to make me happy. And when he made me happy, it was great. When he texted me back and he was in a good mood, it was great. It was like everything. I was happy, I was pretty, I was funny, I was interesting, I was worthy of loving, worthy of talking to. It was bliss. We'd go on vacation, it would be amazing. We'd laugh, we'd have a great time. And then when he was gone, I was gone. Because I didn't know who I was when he wasn't there. I didn't know how to create those feelings of joy, of confidence, of feeling sexy, of feeling pretty without him. So I was doomed. I gave him my power. Do you see what I'm saying? I gave him my power in that way. Did the same thing in my marriage. It's so common. So common. And it's so subtle and it happens so slowly almost that a lot of us don't realize it. I didn't think I had a choice in those moments. I realize now I did. Keeping your peace despite anything going on around you. So that's the goal, okay? That's the goal. So for me, that would have looked like, he's not texting me back. I have no idea where he is. I don't know what state he's in. I don't know if we're still together. I don't know if he still likes me. I don't know if he still thinks I'm pretty. I still like me. I'm gonna go put on a really, really cute dress that makes me feel hot as hell. I'm gonna go out. So I feel like going out right now. I'm gonna go out on the town by myself, safely, obviously. Maybe I'll invite a friend. I'm gonna play my favorite song on the radio on the way there. I'm gonna turn it all the way up, put my heels on, put my foot on the gas, roll all the windows down, blast that song. And then I'm gonna go out. And then I'm gonna go watch the sunset on my way home. And I'm gonna sit there and I'm gonna soak up every single color. And guess what? I'm gonna leave my phone at home. And you know what happens when you step into that energy? You got 12 texts waiting for you when you get home from that guy. Are you getting where I'm coming from? Hopefully it's resonating. Because that is the energy that I want to teach you to step into. That is the energy that I want to teach you to embody. Because that is empowerment and freedom for me. So like I said, I want you to learn how to fall in love with life and yourself first. And then you get to invite the other person. Then you get to invite them to come listen to your favorite song with you, go out with you, watch the sunset with you. Because they're a bonus. They're adding to it. They're not the reason for it. You're already happy. You're already having a bomb night. They're adding to it. Next one is really just like breaking down, where are you proud of your response to the situation? Because there are absolutely pieces of it that you did phenomenally. So we're going to figure those out. Where are you not so proud of your response to the situation? This comes back to, finding your part in it. Coming out of that victimhood perspective. What are you most angry about? We've got kind of a whole piece on anger in here, because anger is a really, really important emotion to really look at and dig into. It's a secondary emotion, it's protective, but it can tell you a lot. It's usually fear. It's usually telling you what you're most afraid of. All right, that is module 1. Please go check out the homework assignments. Complete them today if you can, if you're doing it a day at a time. Send me a message when you're done. I would love to hear you share whatever you want to share with me. Totally up to you. Love to hear it though. Once you get to the end of module 3, I would like you to check in with me, sort of a midway, 3-4. And I would like to do a little one-on-one call with you so we can just see what's coming up, see how you're feeling about it, see how you're processing it. And I can give you sort of my take on it from my perspective, and we'll go from there. So we're gonna dive into module 2 tomorrow, which is really getting more into that gaslighting, those toxic cycles that we fall into with divorce and with co-parenting a lot of the time. So I ask you to keep an open mind with that and support yourself through it, because it may not be the prettiest, most fun module, but it's so important. So I am going to stop this, and I will see you tomorrow.